And when you're there, it's like it's a teacher. It's the teacher without a face, or the teacher with a million faces. There's something really true, really just no bullshitting, just getting straight to the point, and you can't blame anyone. It's all just a reflection. And then there's just like the vibrational nature of it, of just being free of like the televisions and the Wi-Fi and the cars and the horns and the cement, and just being there in the subtle vibrations of the planet and the trees and the songs of nature. Like for me, it's like it's a love. It's a really like deep intrinsic love, and I wanted to live it. I didn't want to just do 2 weeks a year in the nature. Thought that being in nature is a really good place to start for the healing of everyone.
Welcome to Edge Talkers. I'm your host, Todd Lennox.
Taoist, Buddhist, Muslim, Jew, Christian, Hindu, chosen few, temple burning, atheism, burning man, paganism.
Those are just a few of the topics we will be discussing and the people we will be hearing from on Edge Talkers.
Dogs and rats, childbearing, those without, single, married, gangs and scouts.
Thank you to Matt Venuti for graciously letting us use his song, The Rhythm of Life, for our intro and outro. You can download this song and check out the rest of his songs and albums at mattvenuti.com. That's MATTVENUTI. And indeed, in this rhythm of life, we are all in this together.
We're all in this, the rhythm of life.
All right, Jessie Blazo, how are you?
I am wonderful today, Todd. Good to hear you.
You too, man.
I do my best to find a place where they'll be quiet. I can't guarantee quiet. We're building at my house right now. We're building an addition. Anyways.
I'm so happy to connect with you.
Yeah, it's been a solar returner, so.
Yeah, I think maybe a good place to start would be just talk about how we know each other. We met at Landmark Forum, and I think we were both doing the whole curriculum for living, starting with the forum and the advanced workshop and the self-expression and leadership program.
The third one, I dropped out of the third one. I'm a dropout.
Yeah, you're a dropout, yeah.
Essentially, their project manifestation.
Yeah.
That was the essence of it. Yeah, which interestingly enough, like I just was reflecting on the other day. I was reflecting on Landmark and how we know each other. And I remember my project of this cafe. I'm like, well, I wanted a wellness cafe.
Wow. Well, I think you got that plus, right?
Yeah. In a way I wouldn't have imagined.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I completed that course, but in the middle of it, I reached this sort of panic of there is no way I'm going to do this project. I had this kind of glorious idea of doing this art-related project because I knew all these artists, and I owned a gallery with my family and with my brother, and I was going to put together this sort of art creation to save the world sort of thing, kind of like a collaborative sculpture or artistic expression to save the world and bring peace to all. And in the middle of it, I just said, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. I'm not even earning a living. How am I supposed to be doing all this? So, and I had a lot of health problems at the time. So I had a beautiful coach, Caitlin McSweeney, who was listening to me kind of go on and just tell her I'm dropping out. I can't do this. And she got to the real kind of core of all that and said, wow, you really have a lot of health concerns right now. Sounds like that's your project. And I just broke down in tears, and I was like, wow, that's right. That is my project. And And that's kind of how I got to know you more, is visiting you, because I decided to really explore. I was already into alternative medicines and trying to find nutritional balance. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and exploring traditional Chinese medicine. And, you were a TCM practitioner real close to me there in Oakland, and we had some sessions, and it was just beautiful. I was really, we didn't probably really do the series I should have done with you, but it really opened up a whole new way of being for me that I continue to this day. And I just want to thank you for that too.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So you dropped out. I probably dropped out in a way, but I rediscovered the program in the middle of it, and really made my health the most important thing in my life. Because no Todd bod, no nothing else. So I had to make sure I had a body to play with and move around this world in. Otherwise, what else am I supposed to be doing on some other plane? I wanted to be on this plane for some while longer. Then you somehow ended up in Colombia. Tell me that story. What happened?
Well, it's been it's been sitting there for a while, just this urge to emigrate, because we're really blessed, us who are born in the USA. I'll just say that we can basically live wherever we want in the world. A lot of us have this opportunity where most of the world doesn't, and I consider myself a global citizen. And I'm also was a bit fed up with, I just wanted to live somewhere else. It's like, I could just say it's really simple. It's like, well, some people from New York, they move to LA. Nobody questions. It's like, okay, that's normal, but it's like quite a distance you're moving. And it's the same thing for us. It's like, well, I wanted a different culture, different language. And so I'm of the earth. I'm a global, I see myself as a global citizen. And so with that perspective, it's like, well, we can live anywhere we want. And so we chose Latin America, and we traveled a bit, and we came to Colombia, and we really liked what we felt here. It felt like it was big enough to be outside the tentacles of the US, although it's, in a way, nothing's outside the tentacles of the U.S., but you could get to Medellin and Bogota, and you can see these big metropolitan cities that are, if they eventually do kick the influence of the U.S., they can kind of hold their own. You get here. So we fell in love with this little community called Minca. It's in the Sierra Nevadas of Santa Marta, and there's a strong indigenous population here, mixed with like a very diverse, just like foreigner expat community, people from all over Europe and like Russia. We have Syrians, you name it, we have the nationalities here. And so we like the diversity, we like the weather, everything kind of lined up. So that's how we got here.
Your home there, excuse me if I mispronounce this, but Finca La Frecuencia, is that pretty close?
You got it. It's right on.
Okay, good. You're looking at sustainable farming, land regeneration. You have a healing center there. Those are the things this planet needs right now. You were a healer practicing various healing modalities. I know sound healing and TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. How did you start getting your hands and your feet dirty again, and working with the soil and working on a farm like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty natural connection, because if you look at this this way of viewing healing, it's just for like a macro purpose. We could say like natural healing. And so we start to look at nature and what nature is capable of. And so the biggest macro within this is the earth itself, and all that she offers us. And this is where it really starts. And so whenever I would have time off, I would go into the mountains. I'd take a week and just go backpacking into the mountains of California somewhere and recharge. And when you're there, it's like, it's a teacher. It's the teacher without a face, or the teacher with a million faces. There's something really true, really just no bullshitting, just getting straight to the point, and you can't blame anyone. It's all just a reflection. And then there's just like the vibrational nature of it, of just being free of like the televisions and the Wi-Fi and the cars and the horns and the cement, and just being there in the subtle vibrations of the planet and the trees and the songs of nature. Like for me, it's like it's a love. It's a really like deep intrinsic love, and I wanted to live it. I didn't want to just do 2 weeks a year in the nature. Thought that being in nature is a really good place to start for the healing of everyone. And you could do it by showing. I was listening to Charles Eisenstein the other day, and he's interviewing this psychiatrist. I forget her name, and she just brings up this really like valid point of like, you're not going to change people through intellectual arguments. Like it has to be experiential. So what better way than to create this like experience in nature where people can come and kind of be in it and be with themselves, and with a few modern comforts of like a washing machine.
Yeah, I was thinking of Charles when you were talking about love and loving the earth, and he's a very influential person in my life. I just completed his Living in the Gift course, and I can't even tell you, Jessie, what I got out of it, but something in me has shifted into not looking at what I can get out of life, and it's really liberating too, because when I'm in that space, and I'm not in it 24/7, but when I'm coming from what gift can I give, or what do I have to give, there's no concern with, am I good enough? Am I doing the right thing? Oh my God, I have to prove myself, or any of that. It's just all about, I have a gift that I want to give, and I never know, like, I don't even like to say, like, what if people ask me, what's my gift? I don't really know, but it's whatever it is right now, whatever it is today. And I just love Charles Eisenstein, and, he's such a gift giver. And I'm wondering, in your, the walks in the forest in California and the hikes and starting to kind of connect with nature, or continuing connection with nature. And now you say, as you say, you're really living in connection with nature. How's that going for you? Are you in constant communion and connection with nature? Is it sometimes a struggle, and sometimes like, what am I doing? What's the experience like of making that commitment?
Yeah, it's all those things. It's learning by doing. So I don't have experience with land development. I don't have much experience with organic farming or building. And so we just jumped into all those things. Like, I'm essentially the architect for all the structures. We have about 6 structures on the land right now, and I'm responsible for designing them, getting the materials for them. And I'm not the carpenter, and then the cacao, like we have about 4 hectares, which is something like 8.8 acres of cacao, some 3,000, 4,000 trees. And so growing these from seed, and then the proper techniques of how to plant them, and their spacing. And right now it's dry season, so we're watering them. We have to pump water up and hustle around, like giving water to all these thirsty trees until the rains come. And then we're running a cafe. We have a newborn boy. It's I'd say that the connecting with nature is it's probably the least amount of my time. I'm busy. I take time. I take time when I eat, and take time in the morning and at night to give thanks and connect. And in the day, it's just a lot of just making things work, because we have a small team. And so a lot of us have to have multiple hats.
And the farm there, I'm looking at pictures of your place right now, and it's absolutely stunningly, breathtakingly beautiful. And as I mentioned to you, Rochelle and I definitely plan on paying you a visit at some point. And I'm looking at your pictures of your place right now, and I'm just maybe give a little explanation, or as long as you want to, really, about because you take visitors and you have places for people to come stay on retreats of various lengths if they want, and what's available there for people.
So we use natural building techniques. We build mostly with bamboo, wood and earth. There's some like cement in the foundations, but it's mostly natural building. And right now we have about 5 rooms essentially, and they're just through Airbnb, and that's right now that's kind of funding the project because we're still in this building phase and we are a small team. We're finishing a structure, and then we have a big like a temple space that we're creating.
Wow.
And once the temple space is done towards the end of this year, then we want to start hosting retreats. Right now we're available for basically just wellness stays. You come, you take a room. We have a vegetarian kitchen with really amazing food. And so you can come for that and to be in the nature. We have waterfalls nearby. You can all kinds of hiking, and there's chocolate tours you can do, and coffee tours. We have probably some of the best coffee in the world. Biased at all. It grows organically here in the mountains, so it grows in the shade. So a lot of times you don't even notice because you'll just from far away it's like, oh, that's a mountain with lots of trees, but then under in the understory there's all this coffee growing. So right now we're offering this, and then in the very near future we want to be able to bring in teachers and people who want to learn, and I would just say a little more deep. Right now we have 2-night minimum stays, and so once it's really nice to get people immersed for like a week or more, because they can really with that amount of time you can really get something done on a transformational level.
Well, first of all, chocolate and coffee are my 2 favorite things to put into my mouth, so I'm all about that. How long until, or do you have a anticipated date of when the temple might be available?
Yeah, the end of this year, the end of 2019.
Oh, cool. And do you have teachers lined up already, or who's going to be doing some of these retreats and workshops and whatnot?
We have connections. We have people in mind. We don't have any specific dates, but we have a pretty good list of friends and connections and teachers who we admire that we've already been in contact with and who do want to come teach. So, but as far as specific times, nothing's set. We're open. We're very open. There's a spontaneity with which I know that you get, because the earth has its own time, nature has its own time, and we keep a schedule for to be prudent and to remember, but it's also nice to just listen to what the present is giving us and gifting us.
All in this, yeah, we're all in this together.
So you live there with your wife and your baby, and your wife's name is?
Tala Al-Kuderi.
Is there anyone else that lives on the property with you 3?
Yeah, we have 2 of our team members, 3 of our team members, and their child. They all live on the property.
And they're team members, farmers, construction, everyone's kind of working on the project together?
They're all family. Of the 3 that are on house, one is Pin. He came first to work on the construction, and he's stayed on since. And his wife Johanna and his sister Lady, they both help around just keeping all the food and the houses clean and lovely, and clothes. Laundry gets done amazingly fast. Like I just put dirty clothes in, and the next thing I know, there's all this clean clothes lined up.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
That's awesome. And so when you come stay there, somebody does the cooking too?
If you want, yeah.
If you want.
Right now it's a separate thing, because you can bring your own food, you can prepare your own food, and in the kitchen up top, most people end up having breakfast and dinner with us.
And all vegetarian or vegan or either?
Vegetarian. it's vegetarian. We're vegan friendly. We make everything vegan, desserts and pancakes and what have you. We do have a lot of chickens. There's a lot of male chickens, so we're not vegetarian. So although the kitchen is, like for example, tomorrow is the birthday of Pin Pin, so we're gonna sacrifice two of the chickens.
Yeah, I'm not vegetarian either, but definitely think about the lives given to me by the animals that I'm eating.
We know them. We see them. So
Yeah.
like we have a lot of love for our chickens, and we take care of them well. And they have a pretty fun life.
So you are in kind of a hot spot right now, or at least near one, in Venezuela. There's been a lot of news. You know, I get CNN International here in Malaysia, or on Facebook with Democracy Now! And the Real News Network. And, you know, I try to keep abreast of all sides of these issues, but it seems like we're getting pretty much just one side on mainstream media, which is Venezuela, Maduro bad, and US good. And it seems like the rumblings of war are starting to beat up again, just like they did pre-Iraq and pre-Vietnam and pre-North Korea. And, you know, every time American imperialism wants to go raid another country, you know, we start screaming about human rights and potential dangers and everything else. And guess what we find out after we go destroy the place? Oh, none of it was true. So, you know, this is, and I'm not saying Maduro is any saint. I don't think he is, but Venezuela, you know, it's an independent country with sovereignty that a nation should be afforded. And in my opinion, we, meaning the US, has no business being there. I'm wondering if you have any light to shed, because you're literally right next door. And a lot of the issues have come up about Colombia maybe supplying aid or having a relationship with Venezuela. What do you see from your angle there?
Well, as close as we are, like I see a lot of refugees. Work with some Venezuelan farmers, came and worked a bit on our farm. So these are my stories on the ground. Like I know what I hear is that it's various degrees of difficult there. It's not quite the chaos but this is months ago, you know, it changes from day to day. So I really think you have to be there to know. And besides that, we just, you kind of said it all. Like life is about patterns. And so like you said, for Iraq and for Korea and Vietnam and like the Iran-Contra war, the Contra wars, Nicaragua, like we've seen it before. We've seen the same people. I mean, as far as I like to be disconnected, I stay connected to what's happening. So this isn't all news to me. And it's actually, it's an emotional thing because it's sad. It's frustrating that we're still doing the same things. And a reporter called out John Bolton the other day and said, well, you know, we're supporting other dictators all around the world violating human rights. Don't you think that discredits what you're trying to do here? And he just goes, no. and this is like the whole Trumpism. It's like they don't want to see facts. There's lots of people who just don't want to acknowledge the hypocrisy that we're living in, and just like the straight out lies. And once they're called out for the lies, we just say, oh no, that's a lie.
I mean, I do agree with Trump in that it's fake news. You know, I just don't think we agree on what the fake news is actually, but I probably have as many difficulties swallowing the CNN pill as he does. Obviously, he has different reasons for it, but I wonder, like one of the things, you know, Charles Eisenstein writes about is asking the question, what's it like to be you? Maybe even asking that question about Donald Trump. He's probably the most trapped man in America. He's the president of the United States, expected to be this great leader. And I'm imagining in his heart of hearts, he really just doesn't know how to do it. But he's so out of touch with that, not knowing that he's projecting this typical male tough guy. I'm not scared. I got a bigger nuke button than you have you have right now. And how scared and at a loss he really is inside. And I'm not saying that to excuse him. I don't excuse behavior like that. I'm just wondering if there's a way human beings like you and me can start to foster this understanding. Like, forget about Trump for a second, but who votes for Trump? I was thinking about this the other day, like, you know, I would actually like to make America great again too. I really would. I mean, I remember, you know, my mom used to send us out to play, and she'd say, there's no thought about a gunman or, you know, getting kidnapped or anything. Just go out and play. And then when you see the street lights come on, you know, come back inside. That'll be time for dinner. And we just play and play and play. And it was great. You know, America was great. Now, of course, I'm a white boy in a white neighborhood, so that's one thing. But I can see this desire to have it be like it was. And I wonder if there's a way to relate to that instead of just automatically, if someone has a Make America Great Again cap on, just dismiss them, you know, and say, yeah, you know, I get that. I'd like to make America great again too. I don't know how we can get the genie back in the bottle on, you know, human rights for everybody and wealth disparity issues and all of that. But at the core of what you're talking about, I'm with you. I want to make America great again. To me, it's probably more make America great the first time, but I get the general emotional tone of it, I think.
Sure.
With your land regeneration, that's kind of the place to start. What you're doing with getting in touch with the earth, that's where we all have to go in some way or another. We don't all have to start a retreat or a farm or anything, but somehow we have to listen, to learn to listen, and to listen to what the earth's trying to tell us.
All in this, yeah, we're all in this together.
I just find that people are incredible and they just really want to contribute. They want to give their gift. I think that's kind of like bottom line why we're all here. We have a gift we want to give, and we want to just give and give and give. It's kind of like the sun. I've become a sun worshiper. You know, I just look at the sun and think, man, it just keeps on giving and giving and giving. That's all it does. It just gives. And it never stops and says, hey, humans down there, you ever think of like sending me up a like thank you note or anything? I mean, that's all I do is give, give, give. And what do I ever get back? No, it lives to give. That's its whole purpose. It's just give us light and heat and love. And I just read recently that there's more energy and connectivity and sort of synaptic goings on in the sun, like 1 billion times more than in our brain, you know? Okay. So in some way, if you believe that consciousness is derivative from the brain or you don't, I'm not sure I do believe in that, but if you do have that belief, the sun almost must be conscious because there's so much more going on in the sun than that's going on biochemically with us that you would have to kind of deduce that it's a conscious being. And I sort of think of the sun and the earth as conscious beings now.
Sure, that's part of the new story.
The new story. But then there's like all these crazy, you know, issues, and you know, those are still important to me. Environmental issues, ecological issues, and I'm wondering from your home there, how you're seeing that differently than maybe you saw in the U.S. and how you're seeing connection with the land, with all even the work and the details and everything that it includes what that all means to you and what you're deriving out of that in terms of purpose or feeling.
I would just answer that. I would go back to you talking about the sun, and I just wanted to touch on that and how it gives and how it gives and gives and gives, and it's kind of redefining what it is to give, because what I would say about the sun is that there's no effort. It's giving. It just is. It's like a child. The child just is, and if you really let a child be, when a child gives you a kiss or gives you a smile, it just brightens up your day because it wasn't forced to do it. So it's just giving just out of being. It's like, well, you're a gift. You are a gift. And once you know yourself, we'll just say that the sun knows itself. The sun hasn't been indoctrinated through schools and been told they're wrong by teachers and parents, and they need to dress like this and wear clothes because naked is horrible, and you can't say this word because God doesn't like it and he's going to slap you in it. It's so we can say the sun is not indoctrinated, and so the sun just is, and when we can touch that in ourselves, we can just be as well. And that's when, like you said, like your gift, all of our gifts, it can come out, but we have to lose a bit of the clothing, because otherwise we try and we keep trying, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting. We're trying to maintain this world that's been spun. It's been spun out of a lie, and we're just and we think that, well, if we just keep it going, if we just keep the lie up a little longer, eventually it'll somehow become the truth. Eventually it'll save us, and it's not. It can't happen. It's just not the way the world works. And so, coming to your question of seeing nature, it's like, well, we're all doing our best, and we have to let go of judgment. And so when we plant trees, guess what? Like, we use plastic because we bought all these plastic bags to grow the little baby trees in, and so there's no perfect right now. There's really just like we do our best. There's not the alternatives for like the composting knives and the composting in the States. There's more of this, especially in California. We met. There's a lot of these mushroom products and vegetable bags that just will like biodegrade, and that's not the reality in countries like this, because they don't have the technology yet, and they're also fed a really cheap supply of styrofoam and plastic, and those things, they find their way into our experience here, and so the plastic makes it to our farm, and we have garbage still. We're not zero waste. That's something that one day we'd like to see. We'd like to be moving more in that direction. But right now, it's just it's really just being in the nature and doing our best to take care of her, to take care of each other, and to use products when we can, like for example, wood ash. Wood ash has a lot of purposes. We make fires with wood on our property, with tree limbs and such, and the ash can be used to make soap. You can wash dishes with it. You can use it for compost. You can use it it's also medicine for the chickens, and so you start to discover like what is around you, and because you're in nature, you're like, wow, look at, there's all these herbs and there's all these trees, and you start to experiment. I'm like, well, how is it medicinal? We use what's around us.
Even if it's plastic, you use what's around you. I mean, I love the idea of doing the best you can. And I also like what you said about giving out of being. You just be the way that you are, and that is a gift in and of itself. I love that. Did something happen in your childhood, Jessie, or your formative years, as they say, that kind of sparked something in you to say, I want to be a healer, I want to be a world citizen? I mean, how did these feelings and thoughts begin with you?
Well, I think our family, I think all of us, me and my brothers, like we grew up in Michigan. You know, it's very white, a small little town there, but we would befriend, like we were friends with like the Mexican immigrants who would be in the school for like 6 months a year or something. They're there just for the farm season, really. We were friends with these guys. We had couple African kids come, and like, you know, like they're the only dark skinned people, and we become friends with them. And so it's kind of in our nature, my family. I think it's somewhere just like to befriend people from different places. Healing though, that kind of just happened. I grew up kind of also in that same environment, very much like you, very much like to argue. I saw the faults. I thought I saw the faults in the church. I didn't quite see an education system. I think it was there somewhere in the back of my mind. It wasn't a world that I wanted to live for. Suicidal at a certain point, never going to take my life, but really just like thoughts of like, well, what if I just ended it, you know? What if?
Yeah.
Would it be that big of a deal? And so I drank a lot and I partied, because that's what you do when you have nothing else to do. Everything's kind of handed for you. You know, you get this education, you go to school, you're promised a job. You know, you don't have to worry about getting food on your plate. We're very privileged. You're privileged without purpose. That's a recipe for self-harm. So I was self-harming myself, mostly just through alcohol, lots of alcohol. So I was living in Thailand as a English teacher, and she did some work on me that was really painful, physically painful, but then it opened something up, like very profound. It was like healing, this realization, this experiential realization that, wow, like I was really harming my body, and I was so unhealthy. Even because you're young, you feel invincible. So even when you're damaging yourself, you don't quite notice. And so that's what really got me into it. She worked on me, and I was like, whoa, like I thought I knew my body. I thought I was in good shape, and I was just a reckless mess. Like everybody has. So in my mind, I'm like, well, everybody back home, pretty much everybody's like me. Of course, that's not true, but I would say it's the majority. Like people aren't very. I say people, like the average American where I'm from has not much consciousness around the food they're eating, around their meat consumption, about what it's like to be full, what it's like to be hungry, like, because we're full all the time, and just and then what it's like to be touched. Another human touches you in a way that's not to manipulate you or hurt you or sexualize you, in a way they're actually just putting their hands or their feet, they're connecting with you in a way to give you space to see yourself. Like what a novel thing, what a beautiful thing. And we're deprived of it. It's not what we know. It's not really in our reality. So there's just something there. It's like, well, I've been given this healing, and now I have to like give it on. I have to keep it going. That was the feeling.
Wow, that is quite a transformation there in that moment. So you came back to the U.S. after your teaching experience in Thailand, and did you like go through a sort of cleaning up process? Stop drinking so much, start eating better? Yeah,
they say poco a poco. Like my body won't really allow me to drink anymore, so I pretty much stopped drinking. And in the food, it did gradually start to get better. And then I moved to Santa Cruz, California, which there's an organic health food store in every corner.
Yeah.
So the diet got better. And
I want to talk to you too about sound healing, because I think we did a little sound healing in Oakland at your office there, but you have a sound healing practice or therapy that you do there?
Yeah, we both use sound. Tella is a certified sound therapist. So she uses a big spectrum of acoustic instruments with tuning forks on the acupuncture points, and singing bowls and gongs and a shooty box in her voice, and kalimba and bells and chimes. So, and we have a monochord as well, which is this amazing string instrument. And so we both use quite a few instruments, and I tend to mix it in with acupuncture, a form of acupuncture called esoteric acupuncture. It uses sacred geometry with the acupuncture points to create these formulas, these point formations that are very heart focused. Yeah, they're designed to align you to your higher heart, which just refers to your heart that knows that knows your divinity, rather than a heart that gets muddled in the emotions and the fears and the guilt.
I love that.
Yeah, and so the sound just you could say that the sound is kind of a portal to deepen your meditation, deepen the treatment. It has physical healing properties because we're talking about vibration. We're made of vibrations, and so these instruments, they all resonate with some way in our body, and so they soothe us. It takes the mind's chatter away, gives it something to focus on that kind of mirrors itself.
Wow, your voice is taking me there right now. Wow, I need to come to Colombia, pay you a visit.
Yeah, we're here with open arms, Todd.
I've been involved with this Folo farm here in Malaysia too, which is, I've just learned so much. I'm not a farmer either, but I've just learned a ton about farming and what it takes to actually grow a healthy vegetable without chemicals. I've been fortunate enough to be accepted as a member in their model, which is a sharing model of basically everybody pitches in a certain amount of money and then everybody shares the crop equally every week. It's been quite amazing to see what actually happens when you put really good things into your body. I'd like to extend this beautiful life as long as I can, spent on healing and health, and not only what we can do to make ourselves healthier, but what we can do to bring health to this living planet and to humans on this planet. I'd love to visit you and see what you're doing in that regard, because it sounds like you're doing amazing things.
Thank you, Todd. We'd love to receive you, and just hearing you and feeling your words and intentions. You are bringing healing to the world. I'm seeing these flowers here, and you're bringing something beautiful and bright to people's lives. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for that acknowledgement, and really appreciate that. So just want to give you a chance to say anything else that you would like to say, that you came to say, or that has occurred to you to say in our conversation.
Yeah, I'll end with just a thought I had written down right before, this morning. I was like, well, if there's one thought, what would it be? And it came to be like this thought that we're at war. And what I mean by that is it's this war on nature. And we're really harming the planet collectively, not me and you per se, but collectively, humanity, we're at war with nature. We're at war with, that includes our own nature. That includes really how we are. And so I encourage everyone to really just recognize this, that there is this war going on. And I'm not talking, the obvious is the killing, the droning, the bombs, the nuclear warheads. Like, this is a whole different type of war that's happening. And I'm not really talking about that because it's too obvious. But what's not obvious to the average person is that we're all in this. Every moment we have to choose to either like be in nature, which is to be with ourselves, to be in the moment, to be in the gift. That's one side. And the other side is living for something that we're not, trying to make Earth something she's not, and trying to replace her seeds with seeds that we've made from factories, and trying to replace her animals with animals we've grown in factories. And it's this really, it's happening right now. So every moment we really just get to choose to be at peace. And I encourage everybody to just really choose what you can do to not be at war, to choose your nature.
Beautiful. All right, Jessie. Well, let's don't wait another 2 years to talk. I want to stay in relationship with you. You're a beautiful man, beautiful human, and something about you when I first saw you, sharing. I know we're not supposed to divulge people's sharing in landmark forum seminars or whatnot, but I'll just say you always had this obviously deep desire to give yourself to this world in some way. And I really acknowledge you for how you've done that and continue to do it, and what you're giving right now. And who knows what the future will bring, but I just see you and your life there as this unfolding flower. I'm just happy to have been able to connect with you today and just in life. So thanks for being on the show. And I never quite know how it's going to sound, but I just feel that this has just been a really fruitful and meaningful conversation. And I thank you.
Con gusto, Todd. Yeah, it's beautiful talking with you.
Okay, well, you have a great rest of your day, and I'll have a great time in my dream life, and we'll see you soon. Love you.
Love you too, Todd.
We are all in this together. All in this together. We're all in this together. All in this together. All in this. All in this together. All in this. Yeah, we're all in this together. Rhythm of